Hello everyone and welcome back to the part 3 of Linux basic commands. And in this tutorial we will cover some of the commands mostly used in order to communicate with the system. So let me just open the two terminals once again so I can write the commands in one terminal and execute them in another terminal. We will basically just cover some of the commands for networking, the most known and basic ones, and some of the commands in order to check, for example, the running processes, or check, for example, the version of your headers, and so on and so on. So first of all, let me just nano commands.txt right here, and first command that I want to cover, which is a simple command, and you probably already know what it does, is, for example, shut down. Now most of you that know this command will know that this command won't really shut down my PC right away. For example, if I click here enter right here, it will say shutdown scheduled for Monday and then the time. I believe this is 1 minute. Yes, it is 1 minute from me typing enter to this command. So in about 50 seconds this Linux machine will shut down. Now we do not want that since we have other commands to cover, so we will just cancel it with shutdown -C, and right now our machine will not shut down. Now if you want to restart from the terminal, for example, you will type here reboot command. Reboot command, most of you probably expected it to be restart. Well, restart command does not exist in Linux. In order for you to restart the system, you want to type here in terminal reboot. Now don't click enter here, since it will shut down your PC. Well, it will restart it, but automatically it doesn't have a 1 minute delay as it has with the shutdown command. So we will not run this command. I'm just basically showing you, if you click here enter, it will restart the machine. So let me just type here the commands here. We'll delete it here since we do not want to run it. Now some of the commands that are towards the processes that are running in this machine are, for example, ps, which will give you the processes running in the current terminal that we have open. So this bash will be always open. You do not need to run anything in order for this process to be here. And the ps process is the process that we just ran, as you can see right here. Now this is just the processes that this Linux terminal is running. Now if you want to check all of the processes, you can just, let me just enlarge this terminal for 1 second and type here top. This will open up all of the processes currently running on your Kali Linux machine. Now most of this we don't even start ourselves. This is just a bunch of processes that the Linux itself starts up as it boots. You can also see some of the outputs right here, such as CPU percentage, usage, tasks, how many of them, 2 running, 176 sleeping, available memory, swap memory, and bunch of other options. So right here you can also check who is running the processes. In our case, I believe all the processes will be root, since we don't even have any other account. So all of them will be root. Now that we got that out of the way, in order to close this, you just press here ctrl plus X or Y, and it will just basically close this top command, which shows us the processes in real time. Now you can see that it stopped, so we can just clear here the screen and put this terminal back to its size. Let me just type here ps and top. We covered those 4 for now on. Now another command, which is a really simple command, is uname. So basically this will just give you out the name of your operating system, which in our case is Linux, so it is just uname. Now in order to check out all the options for this command, you can just type here man uname, and it will open up a manual for this command, and you can see things it is possible to do with this command. So for example, -r, which we used in order to install our headers before, if you remember, well, basically to check our current headers, it will print out the kernel release. The -s will print out, as it says right here, kernel name. -a will print all. So let's try -a, and it will print out the full name. As you can see, Linux Kali, this is our headers version that we downloaded in that image. As I said, it is Debian based, and there are a bunch of other additions to this command. So this is not really that important command. Only in the process of installing the VirtualBox guest editions we used it, so we might be using it from time to time, but it's not that important really. Now the next command that is important, however, is the command where you check out your IP address. Now some of you may know that in Windows, in order for you to check your IP address, you type ipconfig. Well, in Linux it is basically the same command, except the second letter is switched with if. So it basically is ifconfig. And this command will print out all the network interfaces that are currently connected to your Kali Linux machine, and also the IP addresses of those interfaces if they are connected to the internet. So we can see that right now we only have one interface, well basically two, but one is a loopback interface. You will all have this one. And you will probably all have this one as well, which will be named the same, but in case, for example, that you plug in a wireless adapter, you will be given another name for the wireless interface, which can be different for all of you. Now, here we can see our IP address, which will probably be the same for you if you didn't configure it in the network settings. Now, in order for us to change this, I will cover that in the next video, where we changed this IP address to an IP address that basically belongs to our own local network. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, all the other machines in my local network are starting with 192.168.1, and here we have a machine that starts with 10.0.2, and basically those are not same. Those do not belong to the same local network. So we want to make this machine have the IP address that starts with 192.168.1. But we will cover that in the next tutorial. For now on, this is just the command to check out your IP address, and it is very important. You should remember it, as you will be using it extensively. So next command is netstat. Now this is a pretty big command because it has a bunch of options. For example, you want to type here netstat and, for example, -nr. This command right here will basically give you a gateway, as you can see right here, the IP address of the gateway that you can check out. I use it a lot in order to find out what is the IP address of the router on some of the Wi-Fi's that I do not know the IP address of the router. And in this case it is 10.0.2.2, but this is only because we are using the net in order to connect to the internet. Once we configure the network in the next tutorial, we will be having, I believe, 192.168.1.1, as that is my router IP address. So with netstat you can also check out, for example, your current connections, TCP connections, and right now we don't have any TCP connection, as you can see. Let me just check here. Without a, no, it doesn't have, so basically we are not connected anywhere right now, which is good, because we are not even on the internet and we didn't run any program in order to connect somewhere. So we won't be having any connections to the other IP addresses or servers right here. But if you, for example, run some of the programs, run, for example, Tor, or run Open Firefox, so let's just open Firefox, it should open up connection, I believe. Let's just open up and wait for it to connect. And it is connected right now. If we want to run the same command, you can see that we are connected to the bunch of IP addresses, different IP addresses, which are basically just the IP addresses of this website. And here we have, you can see that the program name that is making the connection is Firefox. And the program ID is 1669. So if we close this right here, it shouldn't have them anymore. Well, it basically just has them. Oh yes, right here you can see that before we closed it, it was an established connection, and right now we have a time wait state, which basically means we are not connected anymore. So you cannot make communication with that site anymore. Since here it was established as we were opening that website, and here as we closed it, there is no connection anymore. I believe this will disappear in a few seconds or minutes, but we won't be waiting for that. Let's just screen the screen and type here netstat as we cover that. Now, there are probably two most important commands that you want to run. Now, most people teach this at the beginning as one of the first commands, but I only taught it right here at the end, because basically one of these commands will take an hour to finish. At least for me, when I install a new Kali Linux machine, it takes about an hour to finish. So first command is apt update, or you can just type here apt get update. What this will do, it will connect to the Linux repositories that you have linked in the sources.list file, and it will check for any updates. Now you can see right here it is connecting to Kali.download, and it will check if there are any current updates right there. Now once that command finishes, you want to go with apt upgrade, and as you can see, this will print out a bunch of new files that need to be upgraded, and it will possibly be the same for you. And if you click here Y, which we for example want to, this will take a lot of time to finish, but you must do it. Now, not a lot of time, but about an hour, maybe 40 minutes, I'm not really sure, it depends. And we won't be waiting, of course, for that to finish. We will just cut to the next tutorial, and for that time I want to show you this simple last command in order to communicate with the terminal and system, which is basically just exit. And maybe you will need to run it twice because it has some processes opened. So if you type here exit, it will basically just close the terminal. Simple as that. Now if you run this command apt upgrade, which you should have, and you should wait for this basically to finish, it might ask you some of the questions along the process of installation of these files, and you basically want to answer yes to all of them. So we won't be waiting for this to finish right now, we will just cut it right here, and I hope I see you in the next tutorial where we will be configuring our IP address in network settings. Hope I see you there, and take care.